What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Mill, if you like. So let's get into it. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 100 subscribers. We're 11 away. When we get there, we'll give something away. But let's get into it. So today, we're going to take a look at some of the things that went right and wrong for the Cowboys against the, excuse me, New York Giants, namely the defense, what went wrong, and the offense, what went right for the Cowboys. Not all the time, right? The whole game wasn't necessarily like that. There were certainly plays where the defense made a stand, like the interception by Donovan Wilson at the end to give the Cowboys the ball. There was times where the offense didn't do anything, like the first quarter when they went 2-3 and outs. But we'll take a look at some of the key plays here and kind of autopsy this and put the finishing touches on it before we get to the Chicago Bears. So the first play I want to take a look at is one of many frustrating plays throughout the course of the game. The Malik Neighbors touchdown, right? So you see here the Giants are lined up in shotgun. Excuse me, stuffy nose again, allergies going crazy. Four wide receivers out there for Russell Wilson. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down linemen. The Cowboys seem to match it in a nickel situation with two deep safeties. You have Trayvon Diggs at the top. You have the other quarter at the bottom. Looks like Reddy is in the game at slot there. And then you have Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker back there, in the two deep safety look. You also have Jack Sanborn and Kenneth Murray on the field as your two linebackers. So on the snap of the ball, we take a look. Tight end goes in motion from one side to the other. So now Malik Neighbors is on top of the screen. Sorry, that was the tight end initially. And now the tight end's on the bottom of the screen. So we have a little bit of a 3-by-1 here right after the motion. We have three receivers. Two of them are wide receivers. One of them is a tight end at the bottom. And we have the, Malik Neighbors at the top. And it looks like Trayvon Diggs just stays on the same side. Of course, he was always going to be on that side with the zone coverage. So as we get closer to the snap of the play, as you can see, Diggs comes up to kind of get close up on Malik Neighbors. Hopefully if it's me, I'm looking at this at the game and I'm hoping he's going to press him because Malik Neighbors needs some disruption off the line of scrimmage. This way, he's not just allowed a free access or free release into his route. So Trayvon Diggs comes up pretty close there to start to try to get pressure on Neighbors. So boom, we're about to snap the ball here. So on the snap of the ball, Diggs automatically opens his hips, right? He turns his hips open to get ready to run with Malik Neighbors. And you see down at the bottom, coverage is pretty good. The corner at the very bottom is playing extreme off coverage. And you see Donovan Wilson at the top of the screen kind of shaded to Malik Neighbors' side. And Hooker's over there watching what's going on with the three wide receiver set, right? So, but Diggs automatically turns his hips to start running. So that's probably the first given that he has a little bit of a beat on the zone he wants to drop into. So he's dropping into his zone. Russell Wilson gets to the top of his route. Now, Diggs sees that Donovan Wilson is peeking into the backfield. As you look up there, you can see right here, Donovan Wilson is peeking into the backfield, right? He's looking at Russell Wilson. He's trying to see what's going on. It looks like Diggs expected him to help to the inside while Diggs took care of the outside. But Wilson looks like he isn't even out of his stance. His hand is on his knees, like he's just peeking into the backfield. So that tells the quarterback, Russell Wilson, hey, Malik Neighbors has a one-on-one. And because the safety is peeking into the backfield, this whole section of the field, the 10-yard line to the Cowboys see and beyond that out of the screen, is wide open. So all I have to do is make sure that I put enough air under this ball, which Russell Wilson is great at, and give my guy an opportunity to go run up under this and make the play. So what happens here? Of course he does. Russell Wilson releases the ball. Diggs is beat. Wilson reacts late. And that's Donald that reacts late. Now, the good thing is Trayvon Diggs did try to, put a fist right in between Malik Neighbors' hands to jar that ball loose. And, he did a pretty good job of it. But that man's always going to come up with that catch, or at least that's how I feel about it. So it kind of sucked a little bit to see the Cowboys allow such an easy play to be completed on their defense. Now, another play that I want to take a look at is this play to Wandale Robinson, right? So the thing that sucks about this play is this is the play that the Cowboys, like similar to the one we just watched with Neighbors, where the Cowboys just were slow to adjust the entire game. There seemed to be a lot of miscommunication between the defense. So let's take a look. So you see the Giants lined up very similar to last time with a 3-by-1 set. Three receivers at the top, one including the tight end, one at the bottom. Cowboys actually match it up a very similar way, except they got their linebackers kind of closer to the line of scrimmage. And it looks like one down below here might be coming on a blitz. Somebody might be designed to give pressure to Russell Wilson. So we'll take a look and see. So as we get closer here to the snap of the ball, like I said, Cowboys have their linebackers up close to the line of scrimmage. Tight end goes in motion here, right, for Russell Wilson. Boom. They snap the ball. So on the snap of the ball, you can already see that there is some issues going on here. It looks like Trayvon Diggs is looking at the farthest man to the sideline and kind of saying, hey, I'm going to take this guy, and that Malik Hooker's responsibility should be the inside guy, and then Donovan Wilson should be having an eye on the even more inside guy just to make sure that the middle of the field doesn't go open. Looks like Sanborn's going to try to buzz underneath, but yeah. So looks like the coverage is pretty standard, except when Trayvon Diggs looks to go take the farthest outside guy, so does Malik Hooker. So now we got a problem because Diggs is being caught looking in the backfield and looking at the furthest outside guy. Malik Hooker's also thinking that's his responsibility. So now what do you have? You have a wide receiver at the corner before he turns his hips, right? The last play we looked at, Diggs turned his hips. Now he got there before he turned his hips. Diggs just started turning his hips now, which means he's already out of position. Russell Wilson already sees it down there. You can see the ball's already cocked back, so he's about to let it go. He does, and again, the seam, right up the numbers. Boom, wide open, touchdown Giants. It looked like the Giants actually had a pretty good game plan for the Cowboys on this. They attacked them there all day, and it was very interesting to see the Cowboys never really respond with something to take this away. Now, the last play I want to get into is the most consequential play for the Cowboys defense. It's the one that basically almost sealed the game for the Giants. There was only 33 seconds left in the game. Cowboys had just taken the lead. You know, they were up 34-30. So the Giants need a touchdown no matter what. And, you know, we're going to get to see the Cowboys again failed to make an adjustment on the play. So if you're looking here, just like we saw the last two scoring plays, then this is just to beat it in your head, because when I started the episode, I talked about how the Cowboys couldn't stop the same play on defense pretty much the entire fourth quarter. And that's what we're getting here. Now, we might be getting a different wide receiver running it. You know, the first time we got Neighbors. The second time we got Robinson. This time we're getting Neighbors again. But it's the same 3-by-1 set with the single back there, the 5 down linemen, right? So let's take a look and see how the Cowboys play it this time. So as you see, Russell Wilson's back there just kind of looking, and he's like, oh, they're going to do the same thing they've been doing. All right, so he drops back to pass the ball. So when you go to take a look at him dropping back to pass the ball before he even releases the ball, right? So he's at the top of his drop here. Boom. What's the problem we see? The problem we see is, once again, Donovan Wilson is looking into the backfield instead of playing his hash or playing his receiver on the side of the ball. When you look down, you see Malik Hooker's hips are already turned, trying to make sure he takes away that guy. You know, Reddy Stewart has his guy. Trayvon Diggs is good on that comeback route. But what does Russell Wilson want? He wants that same seam route he's been throwing the entire game. And unfortunately, Donovan Wilson is not looking at the receiver. So now the receiver, Malik Neighbors in this case, has another inside release on Kyer Elam. Kyer Elam is in a little bit better position than Diggs was. last time, when we saw, a play or two earlier, he's in better position than Diggs was, but still, I mean, it's still pretty bad position because Neighbors has an inside release and Neighbors, is a burner with hands who can go and get the football. And what happens? That's exactly what happens. So Russell Wilson again loads up here. By the time he loads up, right, Donovan Wilson is already taking a bad angle here at the football, and then Kyer Elam now is even with Malik Neighbors. So to me, that means it's pretty much over. All right. So here we go. Neighbors running past both guys now. Now he's behind both guys. Gets blindfolded, still makes the catch. Kyrie Elam put his hand, right in his face mask. Didn't matter. He was still able to make the catch. All because of poor communication and poor technique. Can't believe the Cowboys couldn't stop this play. This was the third time it happened. This is the time it almost cost us the game. Honestly, it almost cost us the game the other two times. But now we're going to get on to something, a little bit better for us, and that is how the offense played. So here's a play I want to break down because the Cowboys did a really good job on this one. Last year we weren't, too much here for the rushing plays. I think last year we had 6 rushing touchdowns the whole season. This year we've already got 4, and this was a pretty nice play for the Cowboys here. So come out, let it roll a little bit here. So Dak lines up in the shotgun, which is not something that the Cowboys did often, but when we watched the running play for the Commanders last week, it ended up being very successful for the Commanders to run out of shotgun against the Giants. It just wasn't something the Cowboys did a lot of, but I knew we would see some of it because all teams do it. But this play worked very successful here. So you see the Cowboys, they have 5 down linemen plus the tight end. So running back in the backfield, quarterback back there. The Giants match it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in the box here. So they go regular size box. They're not going heavy. They're not going light because the Cowboys only have 4 people out in route. So the Giants are just kind of matching this the way you would. Those 2 guys are probably going to play some underneath coverage if it's a pass route anyway. But they're thinking it could be either or. So we don't want to go too heavy one way or another. Plus, who respects the Cowboys' run game at this point in the season, if we're being honest? So Dak surveys it, decides to go with the play that's called, right? So let's take a look here. Looks like he sends a guy in motion. So at the snap of the ball, Tolbert is going in motion. Another thing that's very different than the way we used to run the ball last year. And as you can see, the Cowboys' offensive line is starting to get some people on. Tolbert's in motion. We got a block one-on-one with the center. We got a block there with Terrence Steele and Tyler Booker double teaming the defensive tackle there. You have Brevin Spanford on the outside getting set up for a block there. You have Tyler Guyton, getting set up on the outside as well. So as Tyler Smith, sorry, so many T's. Tyler Smith pulls, boom, you got him in a hole there making contact. You got Brevin Spanford pushing the guy back. You actually have BB one-on-one with Sexy Dexy, Big Dexter Lawrence there holding his own. Tyler Guyton's holding his own. So the Giants have it pretty well clogged up, but the Cowboys actually have it pretty well blocked up. If Jalen Tolbert can get a block on number 2 right here, I think the Cowboys have a shot in this play, right? Boom, Jalen Tolbert does get a block on number 2, which is awesome. It causes him to miss the tackle because he couldn't quite square up. Now we got some trouble, right? Number 27 is over pursuing the play. Booker is already taking care of his guy. He's free. Guyton guys his guy turned. Looks like there's a crease here. If Williams can, run over 27, he can get 10 to 15 yards. If he can make a miss, holy cow, what happens? Boom, he makes him miss. He overruns the play, and now nobody's going to catch, Jamal Williams going to the end zone here. It was a nicely executed play by the Cowboys offensive line. They needed something like that in the game, and it kind of helped them out to make sure, to let them know, hey, we can run this ball, and now coming off this later on, we might be able to run play action, or even later on in the year. It doesn't even have anything to do with this game, but it was nice to see the Cowboys execute a well-blocked running play. It's a little different than what we saw last year. So the next play I want to break down is one of the most important plays of the game, at least in my opinion, and that's when Dak Prescott went to George Pickens for the touchdown late in the fourth quarter that I thought had actually won the game for the Cowboys. I was like, hey, there's not much time left. There's only 56 seconds left to go, and the Cowboys are, going to win this game. And boy, did I prove to be wrong. So the Cowboys come out here. This is a formation we saw a little bit in the game as well. You see Williams in the backfield. You have Hunter Lipke lined up to the right of Dak. You have Pickens on the top of your screen. You have CeeDee Lamb on the bottom of your screen. You have Ferguson at tight end, 5 down linemen. So the Giants match it with 4 down linemen and a few linebackers. They got a stand-up guy there coming off the edge. So I'm guessing that they want to send pressure. So Dak Prescott reads it, sends the guy in motion again. Good motion on the play. So right there on the snap of the play with the motion, you have a guy out in the flat going with the tight end, and you have somebody watching CeeDee Lamb across the middle, as well as the cornerback trailing him to make sure you didn't get anything special. But Dak Prescott is looking at George Pickens all the way. He's not looking anywhere else but George Pickens. You already see where his head is at. So as he releases the ball, George Pickens coming open, looking back, and Dak doesn't have much room to complete this play. He throws this ball to the front pylon. The protection is awesome, but he's not looking at anybody else, and he's just looking for his guy to go make a play. So what does George Pickens do? He runs right to that front pylon, and as you see, the Giants' corner closes very quickly on George Pickens here to make that play extremely difficult. But they get it in. They get it where only Pickens can get it. It's a touchdown, toe drag swag, and the Cowboys take the lead late in the game. And like I said, when this happened, I really did assume the game was over. But little did I know, we were like just getting ready for the final showdown. Now, of course, beyond Brandon Aubrey freaking being a beast and kicking field goals from freaking the moon, this is pretty much the play of the game here, right? This is right after the interception in overtime. Cowboys get the ball back, and they're lined up and trying to make some noise here so that they can kind of finish the game and get into field goal range or score on a touchdown, whichever one comes, and finish this off against the Giants. So the Cowboys come out in a 3 wide receiver set. They still have Williams out there in the backfield. And so we see the Giants match it with nickel, right? This time they're playing nickel. It's later in the game. They're a little bit tired. They have a single high safety on the top, right? So at the start of this play, you see the single high safety, and you see the tight end, Jake Ferguson, motioning in from the outside to see what kind of coverage it is. And as he's going in motion, we see that the cornerback kind of walks down a little, but the inside guy more so takes Ferguson. So now Dak Prescott knows this is a zone, right, with the single high safety here. So on the snap of the ball, well, actually, he's not snappy yet. Looks like he's making some adjustments on the line. This is probably the time of game where they give Dak Prescott the most freedom because it's late in the game. It's the 2-minute warning, or not 2-minute warning, but it's the 2-minute offense, or in this case, maybe the 4-minute offense because it hadn't been 2 minutes yet, but they're probably in 2-minute at this point for the rest of the game because it's overtime. And so they're allowing Dak Prescott to go up to the line of scrimmage, call the formation, call some checks, and then see what the defense does. And then from there, you can make some adjustments on the play, which it looks like that's exactly what he did. So he gave some signals, and now Hoffman here snaps the ball. The Giants on the last second. So as we saw, hold on real quick, I missed this. But if we see on the last second, boom, the middle linebacker shifts, and he's coming in for a blitz right now. Dak Prescott probably reads this and knows this. So, boom, Hoffman gets the pressure up the middle, right? Well, I don't know if Hoffman gives it up, but I'm sure he gives it up because I see him swim moving right here. But you have the lineman going. Hoffman is getting us some pressure, and then you have a delayed blitz by this guy right here, kind of throwing Dak off a little bit. So now these routes need to develop. So Dak Prescott sees the delayed blitz. Boom. At the top of the route, we have Dak Prescott at his drop. We have the receiver, George Pickens, coming across the middle of the field. You have CeeDee Lamb going the other way. So it could be going to either or. There's no way for the Giants defense to tell. Dak Prescott lets the ball go, and 2 guys go with CeeDee Lamb. 2 guys. And George Pickens only has 1 guy on him, and Dak has let the ball go. So now George pulls, boom, pulls that ball in, gets caught, but that's a huge gain of 27 yards. Pretty much seals the game for the Cowboys. Pickens is feeling great. The Cowboys are feeling great. And, that's how it goes, man. The game ends on a Brandon Aubrey field goal after that. Everybody's celebrating. Everybody's happy. And I think the Cowboys did a great job on that play. And I think that's a play they actually should run more often or earlier in the game. But we'll see if that ends up happening as we go here. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at jmiller, IYL. That's jmiller if you like. You can also hit me up at knockersonthebottomoutlook.com, knockersonthebottom@gmail.com. Leave me any comments, any questions below, anything you want to say. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Love you guys. And hope you guys enjoyed the new video here. We'll be doing it this way moving forward. But until next time, I'm your host, J Mill if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.